good things about you from Dr. Yosef. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Are you all in constant communication, or?
I work with him actually. Yeah, he hired me as a coach for his taper clinic, working with his patients. He keeps trying to get me to get my PA license back, which is a whole, red tape nightmare that I'm going to embark on at some point. But I'm like, ugh, so we'll see. Yeah.
I got you. What state do you help him in, or do you help kind of across the board?
All of it, yeah. So wherever he's licensed, yeah.
Because your licensure doesn't matter in terms of the you're not prescribing things or.
Right. So all my coaching is just done under his medical license, essentially. He's the physician and I'm like the coach. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, I talked to him a couple of months ago and posted something on my channel, but yeah, we've had a couple of conversations. I always find that even if I don't have some huge viewership or listenership, it's just nice to talk to people that make me feel like I'm not so crazy or isolated in my opinions on my field.
Oh, you're not. Yeah.
Right. But it's easy to be made to feel that way because, I think when you say some of the things that Yosef says and you say some of the things that I say, it's easy to get labeled as not unscientific or, biased or anti-psychiatry. And yeah, but it's always nice. And it was nice to get a response from you in regards to my clinical issue with trying to battle through red tape and roadblocks to get my patient what I know that is going to lead to the easier withdrawal or the less protracted withdrawal symptoms. So, all right. So today on the podcast, I have Nicole Lamberson. Nicole was trained as a physician assistant, got your Bachelor's of Science at James Madison University, went on to complete a Master's of Physician Assistant program at Eastern Virginia Medical School. You practice in urgent care and occupational medicine until severe illness from psychiatric polypharmacy, subsequent withdrawal, left her unable to work. Now you are working as a coach and a consultant for the Taper Clinic with a friend of mine, I guess, virtual friend of mine, Yosef Witt-During, who runs the podcast Life on Less Meds and the Taper Clinic. I came across your story after a corporate addiction recovery center that I am working for now told me that I was not allowed to prescribe Xanax to a patient in Xanax withdrawal, that it was against their policy, that the only benzo I was allowed to use was Valium. This led me on a literature search rampage, trying to accumulate all the papers available on something that I had seen clinically and is actually a decades-long established unique phenomenon with Xanax withdrawal. In doing so, I came across your 5-piece article on why prescribed benzo patients shouldn't go to rehab/detox. And knowing that stories like yours are not few and far between, but unfortunately rather commonplace, especially in our overtreat and underdeliver American healthcare system, paired with these 14 or 30-day cookie cutter, corporate run addiction treatment centers whose uniform approach to prescription or illicit or licit drug or alcohol addiction and withdrawal causes so many patients to suffer protracted withdrawal symptoms, sometimes for years. Aggressively tapering drugs like benzos or antidepressants is just not good for our brains and can cause major imbalances in neurotransmitter and brain-body homeostasis. It really angers me when we don't individualize our treatment approach. And these centers claim to have helped you because they successfully brought you off of a drug and you didn't die. And they add you to the statistic of successfully treated addiction. It's refreshing for me to find stories like yours that others in the medical community are aware of the psychological and physical dangers and symptoms of withdrawing medications too rapidly. Nicole is not just a victim of this broken system, she has now used her experiences to promote awareness initiatives, including the working with the Benzodiazepine Information Coalition, co-founded the Withdrawal Project. I was looking at your film that you helped work on Medicating Normal earlier. You're an associate at the International Institute for Psychiatric Drug Withdrawal, serve on the American Society of Addiction Medicine's patient panel, advising on the development of a clinical practice guideline on the safe tapering of benzos for the FDA, and also you're acknowledged for your contribution to the Maudsley deprescribing guidelines, a comprehensive resource for safely reducing and stopping antidepressants, benzos, gabapentinoids, and Z drugs. Nicole, it is a pleasure to have you on today, and I really do thank you for being vulnerable and willing to tell your story. I know that that is not the easiest thing to do, especially repeatedly, as you've made a lot of different appearances on different podcasts and other places. So before we get into it, how's your day going? What did today look like for you?
Actually pretty kind of just chill. It rained last night and I kind of had the morning off in preparation for doing this. I still kind of have to really plan my days where I don't overload myself too much because I still have nervous system, dysregulation. So yeah, just kind of hung out and was looking forward to talking to you. So
awesome. I've been looking forward to it as well. Before we get into your story, can we start with a few just rapid fire questions about Nicole the human?
Yeah, sure.
So where were you born and raised?
I was born in Richmond, Virginia, and spent most of my life in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Okay.
Yep.
What did your parents do?
My dad is an anesthesiologist, and my mother was a lab tech, actually, but she died when I was in 10 years old. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. So two medical parents, though. You and I share that in common. My dad's a urologist.
My sister is an OB nurse. Yeah, kind of runs in the family, I guess.
Yeah, my dad's a urologist. My mom was a pharmacist, and sharing in our trauma, my mom passed away when I was 16 years old. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but I always, I don't know, I guess I feel a sense of closeness to people that have had that similar experience growing up, even though you and I don't know each other.
Yeah, it's true. I saw something, I can't remember who was saying it. I think it was like an Ed Sheeran interview or something like that. And he was talking about losing a friend, but he was much older when he lost the friend. And he was saying, it sort of made me understand my friends who were kids and lost parents when they were young, that they became adults as children, because of that loss. And that was profound for me. I was like, oh yeah, that really resonated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like an unstated bond that you feel just knowing that somebody else, had to kind of rapidly grow up without that maternal influence. So, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
I always wanted to be in medicine, even though my dad kind of begged me not to, and now I know why. But yeah, I think I just wanted to be like my dad. You're a little girl.
Affecting you negatively, that just doesn't seem to be very popular approach with some people, and it leads to a lot of frustration on my part, and in trying to find that tribe of people that see things the same way that I do, but also trying to impact a system that is just huge and has so much power and influence as just really a small fish in a small pond.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the rehab. I mean, one thing I kind of was like, this doesn't make any sense after the fact, was I showed up on drugs that cause physical dependence and withdrawal syndromes, and I wanted to get off of them. and they ripped me off only the ones they deemed quote unquote addictive. So from the jump, they didn't even know the difference between physical dependence and addiction. I wasn't addicted to anything when I showed up there. But then the irony to me is they added more psychiatric drugs to my cocktail that also caused physical dependence. They were trying to put me on things like Cymbalta, and I'm like, you're just recreating the same problem as the benzos. You know, Cymbalta can have a horrific withdrawal syndrome just the same, but they didn't see it like that. It was like, oh, we're just going to take everything that's in this bad category because it's a controlled substance away and put you on this other stuff and you'll be good to go, you know?
Yeah, I love the way that you put that in the sarcastic use of bad, because
Yeah.
I really I think the way that I approach what I do, again, there's a lot of questions about the field of psychiatry and our diagnoses and how we, view treatments, and there's a lot of different perspectives on it. For me, I like to go all the way back to the thing that binds us all together as human beings. We have this unique internal situation where we have this thing we call a mind that operates quasi-independently of our conscious self. And what I've found in talking to my patients in my own experience is that our minds are very orderly. They like to categorize things. They like to put that label of bad or good. And it is required of us consciously to provide that nuance, to appreciate all of the gray area that exists. But I see that all the time, not just in medicine, not just in psychiatry, in politics, in society. And I don't think most people are aware, because I don't think most people consider that, okay, I've got a mind and it kind of does its thing and it really gets louder and produces emotions, especially when I go silent or when I'm not consciously engaged in something. But our minds, they present things as very extreme to us. And so I see that as kind of an overarching, I guess, societal contribution to this problem, is we have this hell-bent nature of just wanting to order things, wanting to know that this is good. Good to hear that there are objective signs of this, that you could take to anybody and say, look, there is a neurologic sign. This isn't, because I know that patients with protracted withdrawal, like you've been told, are so often told that, oh no, it's just in your head. It's not a real symptom, or it's the rebound of what your original condition was. Are you able to draw strength from the fact that you're here, you're still here, you've gone through this journey, and you are, I don't necessarily want to say come out the other side, but you've survived?
Oh yeah, I mean, it almost killed me. I came very close to ending my life many times. It was that severe. So absolutely. And I mean, I kind of get annoyed at people who are like, oh, I'm so grateful for my withdrawal experience, because I'm not grateful. Like, this is a horrible thing for people to have to experience, and I wish we could eradicate it from the earth, but I'd lie if I say that immense suffering doesn't result in, perspective and beautiful things on the other side. So, yeah, I mean, I have benefited in many ways from having gone through this, but it was horrible, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Well, I genuinely have a lot of respect and admiration for you talking about these things, because, I mean, similar to a friend of mine that passed away that I was referencing earlier, and his family's willingness to talk about the addiction and be open about it. Like, these things are not easy to do, and there are so many people who are not willing to do that after going through what you've gone through. But it is so important to get the message out there to keep promoting this. And in reference to our earlier discussion about the burden of responsibility, accountability, I think the solution, I may be a little bit jaded, but I think the only solution is for the American people to stand up and, like you mentioned, to say no more. We're not going to take this anymore. We're not going to buy into this. But that takes the courage of people like you telling your story over and over again. And